booktube. Chelsea, Freakout here to do the mid-year book freakout tag. Yes, I know it's probably more aptly called at this point the 2/3 of the way through the year book freakout tag, but just bear with me, friends. We have some catching up to do, and what better time to do it than now? Cami is the creator of this tag, and I will link their channel down below. I'll also leave a list of questions down below, but hopping right in with kind of the big number one best book so far that I've read this year question. It is, of course, Red, White, and Royal Blue. This will surprise basically no one who's been following me at all on social media in the last couple of months. I read this book at the end of June, beginning of June, somewhere in June. It stole my heart. It ran away with it. I do not see me reading anything else the rest of this year that's going to take the spot from this book. I love Red, White, and Royal Blue. If you do not know what it's about, it is the tale of the first son of the United States, Alex Claremont Diaz, and his enemies to lovers' relationship with the Prince of England, Henry Mountbatten Windsor. I think there's a couple other names in there that I might have missed, but it is absolutely fantastic. I've read it several times. I've listened to it several times. I just really enjoy it. Trigger warnings for forced outings on the page. I know that makes some people uncomfortable, but I love this book. This book made my heart happy, and I will probably read it a couple more times before the year is through. The next question is best sequel. I'm going to give this to American Fairy Tale by Adriana Herrera. This is the story of Milo Briggs, and Tom Hughes, the billionaire Tom and the philanthropist Milo, and their relationship and their connection to one another. I absolutely read and loved American Dreamer, which was the first book in this series earlier this year for podcast. I'll leave that episode linked down below as well as up above. But I absolutely love what Adriana is doing with this series. Adriana writes such vivid, sexy, fun, hot, emotionally developed characters who are also Latinx, and I love everything about them, and I really, really love this book as a follow-up to the first one. It doesn't quite eclipse my love for American Dreamer because it's really hard to override a book that's about a youth librarian and a food truck driver, but this one is by far the best sequel that I've read so far this year. Question number 3 is release from this year that you've wanted to read but haven't gotten to so far, and that is Don't Date Rosa Santos by Nina Moreno. This is a book about Rosa Santos, whose family is basically cursed by the ocean until she meets and falls in love with a boy who has mysterious ocean tattoos. That's really all I know, and that's from the cover copy. That's all I really want to know. There is a Kristen Dunst movie called Deeply that has to do with ocean curses and the ocean reclaiming women, and that's obviously a popular theme in folklore, but it pops up in this book. Very excited to get to it. I've heard very good things, and obviously now that I have the copy on hold come in from my library, I can actually read it and move it from the haven't gotten to yet pile onto the things that I loved this year hopefully pile. The next book is most anticipated release from this year, and that has to go to Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. This is a book about Gideon the Ninth and Harrow, her kind of mistress, royalty, liege, keeper, warden. This book is about necromantic lesbians and dark magic. This book is dark and then gets darker and darker, but it in the best possible ways. I love Gideon the Ninth. I love Harrow. I love everything about this book. You've heard Liberty Hardy rave about this book if you've been anywhere in the bookish social media. I'm so excited for it to come out. I believe it comes out in late September, early October. I will leave a link down below as always, but I really, really loved this book, and I am so excited for it to hit the shelves and the wider world so that everybody can join me here in the ninth, and in the darkness, join me. The next question is biggest disappointment from this year, and unfortunately I have to give that to the new Ruby Lang book, Playing House. We read this book for podcast, and I won't say too much about it because we're going to do an episode, but the dialogue didn't work for me, the pacing didn't work for me, the timeline of the relationship and the way that the emotional arc develops didn't work for me. This book really didn't work for me, and that's a big bummer because I know lots of you out there love Ruby Lang and have loved her other series. This is the first book in a new series that she's starting. I did love that it was about urban planners, and there's a lot of really great stuff in there about urban planning and urban development. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely check this out. But I just didn't love it. It fell flat for me. The biggest surprise that I've read this year, or the best book that kind of surprised me, which I don't know why it surprised me. It probably shouldn't have surprised me, but it did. I think it's because it got a little bit wrapped up in like the hype machine, and I am always very wary of the hype machine. But that is Daisy and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I listened to this book on audio, you guys, and I highly, highly, highly recommend that you guys do that. This might be the best audiobook that I've read so far this year. This is the tale of Daisy Jones and the band that she joins, the Six, in the late 70s. This book is very like Fleetwood Mac meets Almost Famous meets like, I don't know. It's just wonderful to listen to. It's got a really great like ensemble cast. So if full cast is or is not your vibe, just know going in it's a full cast narration. But it basically is like listening to a VH1 behind the music of this fictional band that felt so real. And I spent quite a bit of time listening to Fleetwood Mac after listening to this book, which like I always love Fleetwood Mac, but this book definitely put me in that kind of specific headspace, if that is like a reference that works at all for you. The next question is favorite new to you or debut author. This is a tie between the author of book 1 and the author of book 2, like my answers today. So that is Casey McQuiston, who wrote Red, White, and Royal Blue, which is her debut book, and Adriana Herrera, who is a new to me author, who has written several things that I'm absolutely in love with and who is already on my auto-buy list. Both of these women write really heartfelt, queer protagonists and stories that are paced well and are witty and read well with characters that jump off the page. Go pick up everything Adriana has out. Go pick up Red, White, and Royal Blue and keep an eye out for Casey's upcoming female book that she's dropping. I could not more highly recommend these two authors if you love queer romance that falls in any capacity, as well as characters that are young, vibrant, witty, and you want to take them into your heart and like love them to death, basically. The next question is newest crush, and I have to give this to Severin from the Gilded Wolves book that I read at the very beginning of this year by Roshni Chokshi. He is the leader of our kind of like ragtag, multi-talented group of bank robbers and con artists who he brings together to pull off the heist over the course of the book. You guys know how many of the words I just said are like favorite words of mine. Ragtag ensemble heist group. I loved the Gilded Wolves. I'm so excited for the second book to come out. And Severin is the leader of this group. He's got so much heart and so much at stake. He's working to earn back his family name and literally his family like house and legacy. I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. You guys know that. And he just manages to pull all of these people together while still maintaining his own solo storyline. And I love him. I love him so much. I love him so much. I love him. I love him to death. The next question is new favorite character. And this I have to give to, no surprise, Alex Claremont Diaz of Red, White, and Royal Blue. I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's the last time I'm going to talk about it for this video, I promise. But there is so much that Alex Claremont Diaz and I have in common. I feel like that he and Casey McQuiston have a lot in common. Like, I feel like there's a lot of that in him, in as much as there can be any amount of a writer in a character, without it being like a straight Mary Sue, Gary Lou kind of like OC write-in kind of deal. And there's just something about mental health, ADD, addiction, mental processes, trauma processing, all of that is very similar between this fictional character and I just really, really love him to death. He is, the character of Alex is a large portion of why Red, White, and Royal Blue has so quickly become my favorite, because I feel represented a lot in the way that Alex processes and goes through things. So he is by far my favorite character. I just wanted to love him. I just wanted to like meet him and be with him in this fictional world in like a purely platonic, like getting to hang out together kind of way. Book that made me cry this year. Book that made me cry the hardest was I Wish You All the Best by Mason Deaver. This is kind of a groundbreaking young adult contemporary about a non-binary protagonist, Ben, written by a non-binary author, Mason. Everything about this book worked so well together, and it felt like such a gut punch and such an important book that by the end of it, I was just in absolute ugly snot crying tears. However, for books that made me smile, I have to choose both of the Reluctant Royals novellas from Alyssa Cole. The first one is Once Ghosted, Twice Shy, which is Lakotzi's novella, and the second one is Can't Escape Love, which is Reggie's novella. Both of these books are fast-paced, wonderfully crafted, wonderfully thought out, interestingly premised novellas that really fill in some wonderful character gaps in the series that Alyssa Cole is doing as a whole. Once Ghosted, Twice Shy is a love letter to New York and second chance romances. Can't Escape Love is a love letter to nerddom. I just really, really love what Alyssa is doing in this line as a whole across all of these books. And these novellas were the perfect little pick-me-ups when I finally got to them. The next question is most beautiful physical book that you bought or received this year. You guys know I don't buy a ton of books because I read so much digitally / like from my library. But I did get With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo from Book of the Month before I canceled my subscription. And I think this cover is stunning. Not only is this woman just absolutely gorgeous, everything from her natural curls to her giant hoops to the sprig of, I think it's lavender that she's holding, to the back cover, which just has these beautifully rendered, like delicious looking, want to grab them off the page, tropical fruits, mangoes and papayas and oranges, as well as having this really lovely ombre, like sunset looking spine right here too. ASMR. I know it's not necessarily the most like intricate book cover, but I think it is so incredibly stunning, especially given that this book is a love letter to food and cooking and the culinary process, along with being about teen motherhood. I'm really, really excited to get to this one. I just think it's gorgeous. It just makes me think of summer and freshness and the acidity of that fruit and the delicious things that we can eat in the summertime. And it's absolutely gorgeous. Plus more brown and black women on the cover of our books. Please and thank you. And then the last question is TBR for the rest of the year, releases that are coming out, anticipated things you're excited to get to. The first one I have is The Dead Girls Club by Damien Angelica Walters. This is a supernatural thriller horror sci-fi book about a group of high school girls in 1991 who are obsessed with serial killers, who call themselves the Dead Girls Club, who are obsessed with like a local serial killer specifically, and then one of them ends up dying. Fast forward to now, and one of the members of this Dead Girls Club is still like kind of reeling and dealing and processing with all that trauma and doing her best to put it in her past until a mysterious item shows up in the mail that cracks open the doors, brings up all the literal and figurative skeletons from her closet. I'm so excited. I'm hoping this combines my love for like meta love or interest in serial killers and true crime combined with like an actual like riveting and suspenseful thriller story. I'm so excited. The next book is The Wallflower Wager by Tessa Dare. Y'all know I love Tessa Dare. This is the next book that she has coming out in her most recent series that features a stay-at-home wallflower who can't help adopting every injured animal that she sees until her grumpy landlord comes knocking and says that she has only a small amount of time to vacate the premises. She agrees to leave as long as he promises to help find home for all of her injured animals. He agrees to get her out of the property, and all of a sudden, this very surly, consternated Duke has to help her adopt out injured, wounded baby animals. I don't know how Tessa's brain works. I don't know how she comes up with it. It sounds absolutely genius. I'm so excited. I have this on eGalley just like waiting for me, and I am ready. I'm ready. My body is ready. I'm ready. And then the very last one I want to talk about is a nonfiction book that very much so does what it says on the tin. It's called Monster She Wrote, The Women Who Pioneered Horror and Speculative Fiction by Lisa Kruger and Melanie R. Anderson. Like I said, this is a nonfiction book about the many women who form the basis of the genre of horror and speculative fiction. Hi, if you're new here, women are the foundation of those two genres specifically, as well as many of the other genres that we read here. They are kind of the untold heroes with some of the forgotten legendary figures. I'm really looking forward to the kind of general overview of history as well as specific like little mini biographies that are peppered throughout this book. And I'm just really thrilled at the chance to always be learning more about the people who, for the female-oriented people and the female-identified people who have given us this genres that I love so much. So yeah, that's my mid-year book freakout tag. Please let me know down below your answers to the questions. If you made a video, link it so I can go watch it. I am obsessed with watching these videos. They are so much of my TBR recently, along with reading rush vlogs. You guys really came out swinging with the vlogs this year. But yeah, otherwise you can feel free to hit me up on all the social media, which is down below. If you've watched this far, feel to leave me your favorite emoji just to let me know that you are here. I know commenting can be tough. Otherwise, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and have happy reading. Bye, guys.